The lawyer's voice droned as I sat stiff in my chair. To my beloved daughter. Claire, I leave the majority of my estate, including properties, investments, and controlling shares of the family company. My head snapped up. What? The word escaped my mouth before I could stop it. Claire crossed her legs slowly, flashing that smug smile I'd known all my life. You heard him? I turned to Mother. Did you know about this? She looked down at her folded hands, lips pressed tight. No answer. My uncle cleared his throat, but kept his eyes glued to the carpet. The lawyer continued reading. A modest allowance to my son. His tone was flat, merciless. To be managed under Claire's oversight. I slammed my hand against the table. No, this has to be a mistake. Father would never. Daniel, lounging in the back like a guest at a party, let out a laugh. Seems like he finally recognized who the capable one is. My chest tightened. You don't belong here, he smirked. Oh, but I do. I belong to Claire. His hand brushed hers as though marking territory. Enough, I snapped. This isn't funny. Father trusted me. He said. Claire cut me off, her voice sugar-coated with venom. He changed his mind, brother. Maybe he saw what I've always seen, that you were never fit to lead. I clenched my fists. That's a lie. He believed in me. Her eyes glinted. If he did, would you be sitting here with nothing? I looked around desperately. Mother, say something. Tell me this isn't real. Her silence was louder than a scream. I turned to the lawyer. This will doesn't make sense. When was it signed? He adjusted his glasses. 3 months before your father's passing. It was properly witnessed and notarized. 3 months ago. That was when Father had been bedridden, drifting between pain and medication. He'd barely been able to hold a pen. My stomach dropped. You forced him, I whispered. My eyes locked on Claire. You and Daniel. Daniel stood casually, brushing dust from his sleeve. Careful what you accuse, little brother. Words like that can ruin you. Ruin me? My voice cracked, half fury, half grief. You've already taken everything. Claire leaned forward, resting her chin on her palm. Don't be dramatic. You'll still have a roof over your head. I'll make sure of it. Her tone burned worse than fire. Charity from her. For me, I stood, pushing the chair back so hard it screeched. You think this is over? You think you've won? Her smile widened. It isn't about winning. It's about deserving. And I do. The lawyer tried to mediate. Perhaps we should all take a moment, no? My voice was sharp. I don't need a moment. I need answers. Why would Father give her everything? Mother's lips trembled. For 1 second, I thought she might speak. Instead, she lowered her head further, hiding her face. Because he loved me more, Claire said simply. The words sliced through me. I wanted to shout, to shake her, to demand the truth, but the weight of the room crushed me. I turned on my uncle. You knew, didn't you? His silence was admission. He muttered something about Father's wishes, but couldn't meet my eyes. Daniel chuckled. You really are naive. Did you think the world was waiting for you to take charge? You're weak. Always have been. The heat in my chest spread up my throat. Say that again? He leaned close, his breath hot with arrogance. Weak. I almost struck him, but Claire's voice cut in smoothly. Don't embarrass yourself, brother. Father made his choice. I whispered. No, he didn't. She tilted her head. Denial doesn't change reality. Accept it, and maybe I'll let you keep some dignity. I stared at her. Searching for the sister I once protected as a child, the girl who used to cling to my arm when storms frightened her. But all I saw now was a stranger with my father's empire in her hands. I don't recognize you, said. You don't have to. She leaned back, victorious. The lawyer shuffled papers. If there are no further objections, there are. My voice shook, but I forced it steady. This isn't finished. Not by a long shot. Daniel scoffed. You'll crawl back soon enough. I glared at him. I'd rather burn than crawl. Claire's laughter followed me as I turned and stormed toward the door. Oh, brother, you already have. The sound echoed in my skull long after I stepped into the hallway. My heart pounded, not just with anger, but with something sharper of vow. They thought I was broken. They thought silence meant defeat. But I wasn't broken. Not yet. Not ever. I slammed the door behind me, but their voices followed. Claire's laughter, Daniel's smirk burned into my ears. I couldn't leave it like that. I spun back and shoved the door open. "Enough games?" I said, my voice raw. "You two tell me the truth. What did you do to Father?" Claire didn't flinch. She tilted her head as if I were amusing. "Truth? The truth is, Father saw what you refused to. You were never meant to lead." Daniel leaned casually against the wall. "She's right. You couldn't handle the weight. Your father chose strength." "Strength." I spat the word. "You call forging papers and whispering lies into a dying man's ear strength." Claire rolled her eyes. "Always so dramatic. Maybe Father realized I was the one who deserved it. I worked for it. You worked for nothing." My voice cracked with rage. "I carried you. Every time you fell, I picked you up. Every time you failed, I covered for you." Her smirk widened. "And I thank you for that, truly. But covering for me doesn't mean you were fit to lead." My fists tightened. "You were nothing without me, Claire. Do you remember? School fights, exams you cheated on, debts I paid off. I stood by you." She crossed her arms. "And now you can stand aside." The words cut deeper than any knife. I turned to Daniel. "And you? What are you doing here?" "Feeding on my father's corpse like a vulture." He grinned. "Not feeding, building. Your father respected power, and I have it. That's why he approved of me." I laughed bitterly. "Respected you? He never trusted you. He warned me about you." Daniel's grin faltered for a second before returning. Then maybe he saw the truth at the end. Maybe he realized his son was weak. Weak. My chest burned. "I fought for this family while you schemed in shadows. If weakness means loyalty, then yes, I'm weak." Claire leaned forward, her eyes sharp as glass. "Loyalty doesn't build empires. Power does. Power built on betrayal crumbles," I shot back. She smirked again. "Then watch it crumble, brother. Watch me rise while you sink." I felt the room spin. My memories clawed at me, her tears, the night I comforted her after Father scolded her for stealing. My hand holding hers during storms, the night she whispered she'd always stand with me. I whispered, "I trusted you." Her voice was cold. And that trust gave me everything. Daniel laughed low. "You gave her the rope, and she climbed. Don't be bitter because you're still at the bottom." My vision blurred with fury. "You'll regret this. Both of you." Claire tilted her head. "Regret? I have Father's company, his wealth, his legacy." "What do you have?" "Myself." The word left me like a vow. Daniel sneered. "That won't keep you warm when you're living off scraps." "Better scraps in truth," I said, "than riches soaked in betrayal." Claire's smile faltered for the first time, just slightly. "You talk like a martyr. But martyrs end up forgotten." I stared at her, at Daniel, at the two people who had gutted me. My anger raged, but underneath it, something else flickered. A spark. "I won't be forgotten," I said quietly. "You'll remember me when the walls close in. When this empire you stole begins to rot?" Daniel scoffed. Big words from someone with nothing. I stepped closer until I could see the flicker of unease in his eyes. "Nothing is dangerous. Nothing has nothing to lose." The silence that followed was heavy. Claire broke it with a laugh. Brittle this time. "Go on then. Storm out again. That's all you're good at." I forced a smile. "No, I won't storm out. I'll walk out. And when I return, it won't be as your brother. It'll be as your reckoning." Her eyes narrowed. "Empty threats, not threats," I whispered. "Promises," I turned, my hands trembling but my steps steady. Each stride felt like tearing off chains. Behind me, Daniel muttered, "Pathetic." Claire's voice followed, soft but sharp. "Goodbye, brother." I didn't look back. My chest was heavy, my eyes burned, but inside me, the flicker grew stronger. They thought betrayal had ended me, but it hadn't. It had awakened me. I sat on the cold steps outside the lawyer's office, my head in my hands. My chest still burned from the fight. Then I heard a soft voice. "You look like hell," Evelyn said. I lifted my head. "Nice to see you too." She sat beside me. "I heard about the will. Is it true? Claire got everything?" "Everything," I muttered. And Daniel stood there, grinning like he'd won a war. Her jaw tightened. That snake. I knew he was trouble the moment Claire brought him around. I shook my head. "It's not just him." She knew. She smiled while I broke. Evelyn placed a hand on my arm. "I need you to listen carefully." "Don't act yet," I frowned. "Why not?" "They stole everything. Should I just watch them dance on Father's grave?" "You don't understand," she said urgently. "Claire and Daniel aren't swimming in money. They're drowning in debt." I blinked. "Debt? Claire?" "No, she's been flaunting luxury for months. That's the point," Evelyn said. "It was all show. I heard things from people who work with Daniel. He owes investors dangerous people. Claire's been covering him, lying, pretending they're untouchable. They needed the inheritance to survive." Her words slammed into me harder than Claire's betrayal. "So it wasn't just greed?" "Desperation," Evelyn said softly. "But that doesn't excuse it. They used you. They used your father's death to bail themselves out." I felt my throat tighten. "I stood by her all my life, Evelyn. I thought maybe she loved me in her own way, but it wasn't love. It was need." She squeezed my arm. "That's why you can't go after them now. They're desperate animals. If you confront them again, they'll lash out. Wait. Let them destroy themselves." "I can't just sit back," I muttered. "Every part of me wants to storm their house, demand answers, scream until they choke on their lies." Her eyes locked on mine. "And then what?" "You'll walk away empty again. They'll twist it, make you the fool. Don't give them that." I clenched my fists. "So I'm supposed to swallow this? Pretend everything's fine while they spend Father's life's work?" "No," she said firmly. "You watch. You wait. And when their debts crush them, you step in. That's when the truth will burn them alive." Her certainty steadied me. "You make it sound simple. It is simple. Hard, but simple. Think, not react. Your father raised you better than to let anger blind you." Her words cut deep because they were true. "Father always warned me, patience wins wars," I whispered. "I wanted justice. Now, I just want revenge." Evelyn nodded. "Then let it be the kind of revenge they can't escape. Not a shout in the dark, but a storm they never saw coming." For a moment, silence stretched between us. Then I asked, "Why are you helping me? You don't owe me this." Her eyes softened. "Because you're not alone. You never were. And if you let them break you, then they win twice." Something in me cracked at her words. But instead of falling apart, I felt steadier. I don't know if I can wait. Every second I see their faces, I want to tear it all down. "Then don't look at their faces," she said simply. "Look at me. Remember what you still have." I exhaled, the anger in my chest cooling just a little. "You'll always know how to pull me back. Someone has to," she smiled faintly. "You've carried Claire long enough. Let someone carry you for once." I stared ahead, the night air biting my skin. "All right, I'll wait. But I swear, Evelyn, when the time comes, they'll regret every breath they stole from me." Her hand stayed on mine, steady, warm. "Good. Then you have a plan." For the first time since the will was read, I felt something close to strength. I wasn't broken. Not yet. I pushed open the door to Father's study. Dust lingered in the air, the scent of leather and paper wrapping around me. My fingers brushed the desk he used to sit at every night. I whispered, "What did you leave me, Father? Anything at all?" The silence pressed back, heavy. I started opening drawers, flipping through ledgers, contracts, yellowed papers, nothing. Then my hand hit a small leather book wedged behind a stack. Father's diary. I stared at it, whispering, You always said some truths don't belong in words, yet here you are. I opened the first page, my heart pounding. His handwriting flowed sharp and clear. Claire is changing. I see Daniel's shadow over her. I fear for her soul, but I fear more for my son's trust. My chest tightened. I whispered to myself, "So you knew, Father. You saw it coming." Page after page bled doubts, confessions, quiet pain. Then near the end, his words cut me raw. If betrayal comes, it will not be from strangers, but from blood. My son must learn to stand alone. Only then will he be ready for what is truly his. I swallowed hard. Stand alone? What did you mean? As I turned the last page, something caught my eye, a flap tucked into the back cover. My fingers trembled as I pulled it open. A sealed envelope slid out. My name was written across the front. My voice cracked for me. I broke the seal with shaking hands. Inside lay a document, stamped and signed. Another will, I read aloud, my breath unsteady. I, Thomas Hale, leave the majority of my estate, including assets and accounts, to my son on one condition. He must prove he can stand without leaning on another. Only then will this be enacted. The room spun. My knees nearly gave out. I clutched the paper, whispering he didn't forget me. He trusted me, but he wanted me strong. For a long moment, I just stared at Father's words. My whole body trembled, but not from despair, from something rising deeper. I said to the empty study, "Claire thinks she's won. Daniel thinks he's clever. But this changes everything." A sudden voice at the door startled me. "You're talking to yourself again," Evelyn said softly. I turned quickly, clutching the paper. "You followed me?" She stepped inside. "I worried you'd do something reckless." Her eyes flicked to my hands. "What's that?" I hesitated, then held it out. "Proof Father didn't abandon me. He left me this, but with conditions." She scanned the page, eyes widening. "A second will? Do you understand what this means? You have the real claim." "No," I said sharply. "Not yet." He made it clear. "I can't depend on anyone. Not even you." Her gaze softened. He didn't mean isolation. He meant strength. Independence. I sank into Father's chair, clutching the diary. "Do you know how it feels?" I thought I was erased, replaced, forgotten. And all this time he was testing me. Evelyn moved closer, then passed the test. "Show them who you are," I laughed bitterly. Claire would burn this if she saw it. Daniel would laugh until he realized what it meant. And when he did, he'd claw me apart. "Then don't show them," Evelyn said firmly. "Not until the time is right. Let them believe you're broken. It's the only way they'll slip." Her words struck deep. "So I keep this hidden? Watch them spend, spiral, and rot, while I hold the truth." "Yes," she said. "Your father wanted patience. He wanted you to rise, not lash out. This is the power shift. Feel it." I looked at the envelope again, my hand steady now. For the first time since that day, I do feel it. Power, not theirs. Mine. Evelyn leaned in, her voice low. "Then guard it, because when they fall, this will not only save you, it will bury them." I traced Father's signature with my thumb, whispering, "You saw them, Father. You knew, and you left me the weapon to end it." The study no longer felt heavy. It felt alive, like Father's presence wrapped around me, whispering, "Stand tall." I stood, sliding the diary and envelope into my coat. "All right. They think I'm weak. Themp. From today, I'll be silent, patient, and when I rise, it will be over their ashes." Evelyn's eyes glimmered. That's the man I knew was still in there. I exhaled, steady. For the first time since the betrayal, I wasn't crushed. I was ready. Claire's laugh echoed through the dining room. "Look at you, sulking again." "Honestly, I thought you'd be gone by now." I didn't answer. My fork scraped against the plate, my silence deliberate. Daniel smirked from across the table. You should take notes, kid. Watch how a real man builds a future. With Claire at my side, we'll turn father's fortune into an empire. I lifted my eyes briefly, then lowered them. My jaw clenched, but I said nothing. Claire leaned closer, mocking. See? He doesn't even fight back anymore. Pathetic. Inside, my rage burned like acid. But I swallowed it, leaving only the mask. Later, alone in father's study, I whispered to myself, let them laugh. I'll play the shadow until it's time. A knock at the door startled me. A familiar voice spoke. It's Harris. May I come in? I opened the door quickly. Thank you for coming. The old lawyer stepped inside, adjusting his glasses. You said it was urgent. I pulled the envelope from my coat and placed it on the desk. I found this in father's diary. Tell me it's real. He carefully unfolded the second will, scanning line by line. His expression grew grave. Yes, this is legitimate. Dated, notarized. If brought to court, it supersedes the other. Relief and fury clashed inside me. Then Claire and Daniel, he raised a hand. Not so fast. This isn't a simple matter. The condition is clear. You must prove independence before it can be executed. I leaned forward. What does that mean, legally? It means, he said slowly, the court will require evidence that you can sustain yourself, make decisions, and manage responsibility. Until then, revealing this could backfire. They'd argue you're unfit. My fists clenched. So I keep silent while they gloat? Yes, Harris said firmly. You wait. Let them think they've won. Document their excesses. When the time comes, you'll have the upper hand. I exhaled, forcing calm. Father wanted me to fight without anger, to endure. Harris studied me. Do you have the strength for that? I stared at the will. I don't have a choice. When he left, I remained in the study, whispering to father's memory. I'll play the weak son a little longer. But inside, I'm sharpening the blade. The next morning, Claire cornered me in the hall. Still moping? You should really start job hunting. You'll need something to survive once we're settled in father's house. I forced a hollow laugh. Maybe you're right, she smirked triumphantly. Good, at least you know your place. Daniel joined her, tossing his arm around her shoulders. We'll renovate the estate. Big parties, connections. Father would have been proud of us, not you. I lowered my gaze. Enjoy it while it lasts. What was that? Daniel snapped. I shook my head quickly. Nothing. They laughed and walked off, certain I was broken. But Evelyn found me later in the garden. You look too calm. What's going on? I glanced around, lowering my voice. I showed Harris the will. Her eyes widened, and it's real binding, but I can't reveal it yet. I have to prove myself first. She exhaled sharply. Then you have to endure their taunts. I know. I rubbed my temples. Every word they throw at me feels like poison, but I can't react. If I crack, I lose. Evelyn touched my arm. Then let me be your outlet. Don't give them the satisfaction. I nodded slowly. I'll play their fool. For now, but inside I'll prepare, piece by piece. She smiled faintly. That's the man I remember, that night, as laughter carried from the dining hall. I sat alone in my room, the envelope clutched tightly. My narration whispered inside my head. They think silence is surrender. They don't see silence as my weapon. Let them dance in their illusion. The moment will come, and when it does, their empire will collapse. Father, I won't fail you. The banging on the front door rattled the walls. A man's voice shouted, Open up, Claire! You can't keep hiding forever. I leaned against the banister, watching as Claire rushed down, her robe half-tied. Go away. We'll pay you next week. Another voice barked. You said that last week. Daniel appeared behind her, trying to sound confident. Calm down. I told you we're expecting funds soon. Just give us time. The men cursed and finally left, muttering threats. Claire slammed the door, her hands trembling. This is your fault, Daniel. You promised me we'd be safe. he snapped back. Don't pin this on me. You were the one who insisted we spend on renovations, parties, clothes. I told you money doesn't stretch forever. Their voices rose, echoing through the hall. I stayed still, silent in the shadows. Later, Evelyn found me near the garden. She whispered. I heard shouting again. How bad is it? Worse than they'll admit, I murmured. Her eyes searched mine. Then strike. End this now. I shook my head. Not yet. Why? She demanded. Because their collapse isn't complete, I said quietly. If I reveal the will too soon, they'll fight back. I want them broken before the truth arrives. Evelyn frowned. You scare me when you talk like that. I forced a hollow smile. It's the only way. Days passed, and the cracks widened. I overheard whispers in town. Daniel owes half the merchants. Claire's selling jewelry just to pay servants. Gossip traveled faster than truth, and they could feel it. One evening, I crossed paths with Claire in the hall. Her eyes were sharp, restless. Why do you look so calm lately? She asked. I raised an eyebrow. Shouldn't I be? Her lips curled. You're hiding something? I shrugged. Or maybe I've just accepted my place. She studied me as though trying to peel away my skin. No, there's something in your eyes. I don't like it, Daniel called from the study. Claire, leave him. We have bigger problems. She hesitated, then hissed under her breath. I'll figure you out. When she left, I felt a flicker of triumph, but also unease. Her suspicion meant my mask was slipping. That night, Evelyn pressed again. She's cracking. Why not push her over the edge? Because patience is the sharpest blade, I answered. If I rush, I lose the elegance of this revenge. Evelyn folded her arms. You sound more like them every day. Her words stung. Do you think I enjoy this? Watching them drown while I wait? Yes, she said softly. I turned away. Maybe I do. The house grew quieter with each passing day. No parties, no laughter, just tense silence and sudden bursts of argument. I passed their door one night and heard Claire's voice break. You promised me a future, Daniel. Look at us now ruined. His reply was bitter. We wouldn't be if your brother hadn't existed. He's the ghost haunting us. I closed my eyes, listening. They blamed me, even in their downfall. The next morning, Claire confronted me at breakfast. What are you planning? I sipped my tea slowly. I don't know what you mean. Her fists clenched. Don T played dumb. You walk around with that smug silence? What are you hiding? Daniel groaned. Enough, Claire. He's harmless. Her eyes never left mine. No, he's waiting. I can feel it. I forced my expression into innocence. Paranoia doesn't suit you, sister? Her chair scraped back violently as she stormed out. Daniel muttered. You're driving yourself insane. I remained still, the mask firmly in place. Inside, my chest tightened. Revenge tasted sweet, but Evelyn's warning gnawed at me that evening. As the sun bled across the horizon, I whispered to myself, how far can I go before I become them? Father wanted strength, not cruelty. But strength demands a price. My reflection in the window looked unfamiliar, cold, patient, dangerous. Evelyn's words echoed in my head. You scare me? I whispered back to the silence. Maybe I scare myself. The pounding on my door shook the frame. Open up. Claire's voice cracked with rage. I opened slowly, keeping my face calm. She stormed in, eyes wild. What are you hiding? Daniel followed, his jaw tight. We know you're plotting. You think we don't see it? You've been sitting in silence, smiling like some damned snake. I shut the door behind them. You barge into my place to yell at me? Interesting choice. Don't play games, Claire snapped. Tell me now, tell you what? I asked evenly. That look in your eyes, she hissed. It's not defeat. It's something else. What are you holding over us? Daniel stepped forward. I'll tear this place apart if I have to. Where is it? I tilted my head. Where is what, Daniel? He glared. Whatever weapon you're keeping. You think you're clever? You've been waiting for something. I let the silence stretch before answering. You're right. I have been waiting. Claire's voice rose to a scream, then spit it out. I reached for the drawer beside me. My fingers brushed the envelope. My heart pounded, but I forced my hand steady. I placed it on the table between us. They both froze. What is that? Claire whispered. The truth, I said. Daniel barked a laugh. A piece of paper? That's your big secret? Claire snatched it, tearing it open with trembling hands. As her eyes scanned the words, her breath caught. No, she muttered. No, this can't. This isn't. Daniel leaned over her shoulder, his face draining of color. Another will? That's impossible. Father, already the door creaked behind me. Calm footsteps entered. Mr. Harris stepped inside, his glasses glinting in the dim light. Not impossible, he said firmly. Authentic. Claire's head snapped up. You're in on this? Mr. Harris adjusted his tie. I was entrusted to hold the truth until the right moment. Your father had doubts about you and Mr. Daniel. Claire's voice cracked. Lies he chose me? No, I said quietly. He tested me. He wanted to see if I could stand without leaning on anyone. And I did. Her face twisted with fury. This is a trick. It has to be. Father loved me more than loved. I interrupted, my tone sharp. He didn't trust you. Daniel slammed his fist on the table. We won't accept this. You don't have a choice, I said, my voice low but steady. This isn't about what you accept. It's about what's written. Signed, sealed, legal. Mr. Harris nodded. The court will honor this will. There is no room for dispute. Claire shook her head violently, papers fluttering from her hands. You think you've won? You think this makes you stronger? You're nothing but a coward hiding behind Father's words. I leaned forward, my calm slicing through her rage. Father trusted me, not you. That's all that matters. Her lip trembled. You don't deserve it? Daniel's voice was cold now. We can fight this. There must be a loophole. Mr. Harris's gaze hardened. You can try, but you'll lose. And every move you make will expose more of your debts, more of your dealings. Are you prepared for that? For once, Daniel had no answer. Claire's eyes darted between me and the envelope, her fury collapsing into something more fragile. You've been waiting for this moment, haven't you? Yes, I admitted. I wanted you to feel what I felt. Betrayal, powerlessness, silence. Every day you mocked me. I counted the seconds to this. She stepped closer, her voice breaking. You're cruel. No, I said softly. I'm just finished being your victim. Daniel grabbed her arm. We're leaving. This isn't over, actually, Mr. Harris interjected. It is. The estate shifts legally the moment this will is filed. You no longer hold power here. Daniel's face twisted. This house, this life, it's ours. I met his glare. Not anymore. Claire let out a strangled cry, part rage, part grief. She shoved the papers toward me. Take them then. Take it all, but you'll never have what we had. I picked up the envelope calmly. What you had was stolen, built on lies. It was never real. Her eyes burned with tears, but she turned and fled, Daniel dragging behind her. The door slammed so hard the walls shook. Silence filled the room. Mr. Harris looked at me carefully. You handled that better than I expected. I exhaled slowly, my chest heavy. It wasn't shouting that broke them. It was the truth. He nodded. Your father was right about you. I stared at the envelope, my hands steady now. For the first time since that day in the lawyer's office, I felt the weight shift. Not gonna but mine to carry. The news spread faster than I ever imagined. By morning, whispers traveled across town. Claire and Daniel's empire wasn't theirs anymore. The first confrontation came in the courtyard. Claire stormed up, her hair disheveled, eyes wild. You can't do this to me. She screamed. I didn't, I said quietly. Father did. Daniel's voice cut in, sharp and bitter. You think you've won? All you did was wave a piece of paper. That doesn't make you better than us. I held their gaze. It doesn't need to. It only makes me the rightful heir. Claire's voice cracked. Please, you know what this means for us? Debts, collectors, humiliation. We'll be ruined? You ruined yourselves, I replied. Father saw it coming. That's why he chose me. Daniel stepped closer, jabbing a finger toward me. Give us something. Anything. We built our life on that estate. You can't strip us bare. I'm not stripping you, I said calmly. Your choices did that. I'm only reclaiming what was never yours. Claire's eyes filled with tears. You can't be this heartless. We're family. Family. My voice hardened. Was it family when you mocked me? When you betrayed me in the open? When you left me with nothing? Her lip trembled. That was different. No, I said flatly. It was betrayal. Daniel's face twisted in rage. You'll regret this. You think people respect you now, but they'll turn on you. You'll be alone, I leaned forward slightly. Better alone with integrity than surrounded by liars. Claire broke down, clutching at my arm. Please, brother. Don't let them take everything. We have nowhere to go. I gently removed her hand. You had a choice. You chose greed, Daniel snarled. You're enjoying this, aren't you? Watching us fall? I shook my head. No, this doesn't bring me joy. It brings balance. The courtyard grew silent. A few townspeople watched from a distance, whispering. Claire noticed them, her cheeks flushed with shame. You love this, she whispered bitterly. Making a spectacle of us. No, I answered softly. You made the spectacle yourself. I just stood still. Daniel grabbed her wrist. We're wasting time. Let's go. But she stayed rooted. I never thought you'd be the one to destroy us. I didn't destroy you, I said. You destroyed yourselves. My silence only let the truth catch up. She looked at me one last time before Daniel dragged her away, her sobs echoing behind them. That evening, Evelyn came to see me. She found me sitting in Father's study, staring at the sealed will, the diary beside it. They came again, didn't they? She asked gently. Yes, I admitted. Begging, threatening, blaming. They've lost everything. Her hand rested on my shoulder. Karma never misses. They thought they were untouchable, but no one outruns their own deeds. I sighed, the weight heavy in my chest. I thought I'd feel satisfaction, but all I feel is tired. Empty. Evelyn sat across from me. That's because you're not like them. You didn't want revenge for pleasure. You wanted justice. There's a difference. I looked down at my hands. But seeing Claire that broken she's my sister, I wanted to hate her, but all I saw was someone drowning. She chose the water, Evelyn said firmly. Don't mistake sympathy for guilt. You gave her every chance. She spat on it. Now the current takes her. I met her eyes. You speak like you knew this day would come. I did, she said softly. From the moment I saw them smile while you suffered, I knew the world would correct itself. You just had to wait. I gave a faint, humorless laugh. Patience. The one thing I thought would break me became the thing that saved me. She leaned forward. Silence is powerful. They thought your quiet meant weakness. They never realized it was your weapon. Her words sank deep. My chest ached, but for the first time, I felt a strange peace. So this is victory? I asked. No, Evelyn said gently. This is justice. Victory would have been watching them destroyed. But you didn't destroy them. You simply let the truth breathe. I closed Father's diary slowly. He always said patience wins battles. I never believed him until now. Evelyn smiled faintly. He'd be proud. Not because you inherited, but because you endured. I exhaled, the heaviness easing. Claire and Daniel thought they silenced me, but my silence spoke louder than their betrayal ever could. I heard the knock late in the evening. For a moment, I considered ignoring it, but something in the rhythm told me it was her. I opened the door, and there she was, Claire, pale, exhausted, eyes swollen from crying. She stepped inside without asking. So this is how it ends. You sitting in Father's house, and me scraping the bottom of nothing? I stayed silent, waiting. Her voice trembled but hardened. You're cruel. You could have stopped this. You could have given me something, anything. But you let me drown. I finally spoke. I didn't push you, Claire. I only stepped aside and let the tide hit where it always was going to. She laughed bitterly. That's what you tell yourself. That you're innocent? You watched me fall apart and never lifted a hand. You never asked for a hand, I said quietly. And when I tried before, you slapped it away. Her jaw clenched. I thought you'd be better than this. I thought after everything you'd forgive. Forgive. I repeated softly. Forgive the nights you mocked me. Forgive the way you conspired with Daniel against me. Forgive the years you let me believe I was nothing. Her eyes glistened. I didn't come for a fight. I came because I thought maybe you'd at least try to understand. I understand, I said. I understand you wanted everything, and you thought stepping on me was the way to get it. I understand Father saw through you before I ever could. And I understand you still can't admit you were wrong. Her lip quivered. So that's it? No mercy? No compassion? Compassion? I shook my head. You mistake silence for cruelty. I didn't destroy you, Claire. You destroyed yourself. She flinched as though the words cut sharper than shouting. Do you even hear yourself? You sound just like him. Maybe that's because he was right, I said. Father knew who you were long before I did. She looked down, whispering I only wanted to matter. You did matter, I answered gently. But greed made you blind. You could have had me as your brother, as your ally. Instead, you chose to make me your enemy. Her shoulders shook. And now you'll never forgive me? I don't have forgiveness to give, I said. Not when you won't even apologize. Her head snapped up, eyes blazing. Why should I apologize? You think you're perfect? You think inheriting everything makes you better? No, I replied. It doesn't make me better. It just proves Father trusted me not to waste it. Tears slipped down her cheeks. I hate you, she whispered, but I hate myself more. I stayed still, letting the silence swallow us both. Finally, she turned toward the door. Her hand hesitated on the knob. You'll remember this moment someday, she said, voice breaking, and maybe then you'll regret not showing mercy. I answered softly. Maybe, but not today. She opened the door, stepped out, and didn't look back. The house felt heavier in her absence, yet somehow lighter inside me. I sank into Father's chair, my hands trembling. No apology came, only blame, only deflection. And still it was finished. The bond between us was broken forever. It's torn apart, not by my silence, but by her refusal to face herself. Sadness lingered, sharp and aching. Yet beneath it was something else, relief. I whispered into the quiet room. Goodbye, Claire. And for the first time, I believed it. The evening sky was painted in fading orange when Evelyn and I sat on the porch of Father's house, now my house. The air was cool and the wooden boards creaked faintly beneath our chairs. I held Father's diary in my hands, its leather worn, pages yellowed, but the words inside alive. Evelyn leaned closer. You've been holding that diary all day. Are you finally ready to share what's inside? I nodded. I think it's time, she gave a small smile. Then read it to me. Let me hear him through you. I opened to the first marked page. Father's handwriting was steady, sharp, but I felt the weight of his doubts between the lines. I read aloud. I fear Claire's intentions are not pure. Daniel feeds her greed, and I wonder if I've been blind too long. Yet I still hope she chooses love over envy. Evelyn exhaled softly. He saw it coming. I closed the book halfway. He did, and he still hoped for her. Even in doubt, he hoped. Her hand brushed mine. That was his strength. Hope, even when betrayed. I reopened the diary and kept reading. To my son, if these words ever reach you, know this. Strength is not in the wealth I leave.
Ow!
but in the silence you can hold when the world shouts against you. Do not waste life proving others wrong. Live to prove yourself right. I paused, my throat tightening. Evelyn whispered, "He was speaking to you directly." I swallowed. Every line feels like it. We sat in silence for a moment, cicadas humming in the grass. Then I turned to her. All this time I thought revenge was strength, that making them suffer would make me whole. But Father, he knew better. She tilted her head. You still found your strength, but you chose endurance, not destruction. I shook my head slowly. At first it didn't feel like that. It felt like rage wearing patience as a mask. But now, sitting here, I see what he meant. My silence wasn't just a weapon. It was survival. It was proof I didn't have to be like them. Evelyn's voice softened. You endured what could have broken you. I flipped to the last page Father wrote. My hands trembled as I read. If I am gone and the family tears itself apart, I trust my son will not join the fire. A man becomes who he is not by what is taken from him, but by what he chooses to protect. If he protects himself, he will stand. If he protects others, he will lead. And if he protects love, he will never be alone. I lowered the diary slowly. My chest felt heavy and light at once. Evelyn reached out, resting her palm over mine. Do you feel him here? Yes, I whispered. More than ever. He isn't just in this house or these pages. He's in the choice I made to wait, to endure, to stand without striking. She smiled faintly. Then maybe that's why he left it all to you. Not because you were stronger than Claire, but because he knew you'd learn to be. The porch lights flickered on as the sky deepened. I rose, taking the diary with me. Evelyn followed as I walked inside. The halls smelled faintly of cedar and old books. Each step echoed memories. I touched the walls, remembering Father's stern voice. Claire's laughter when we were children. Even Daniel's arrogance at the dinner table. Painful memories and sweet ones collided like shadows against light. Evelyn's voice trailed behind me. What do you see? Scars, I said softly. But scars don't bleed anymore. They just remind me I survived. We walked into Father's study. The desk still held indentations where his pen pressed too hard, where his hands once steadied the world he built. I placed the diary on it gently. Evelyn whispered, "Does it feel like closure?" I nodded. Yes, because this place doesn't own me anymore. I own it, not as a prize, not as revenge, but as a memory I'll carry forward. She looked at me with quiet pride. You sound lighter, I turned toward her. Because for the first time I believe I am. They thought they buried me in their betrayal, but all the while, I was growing roots, waiting, enduring. Her eyes shimmered. And now? Now I walk into the light, I said simply. We stood in silence, letting the words linger. After a while, she stepped closer. You don't regret not crushing them when you had the chance? I shook my head. If I had, I would have become them. And Father's words would have meant nothing. I chose to endure, and that was enough. She studied me, then smiled softly. You've changed. I had to, I replied. Otherwise, I'd still be in the dark, carrying their shadows. But I've let them go. Evelyn reached for my hand. Then let's not sit in the past any longer. Walk with me. We left the study together, closing the door behind us. As we stepped outside again, the night sky had shifted to deep blue. The first stars appeared. Evelyn tilted her face toward the sky. It's beautiful tonight, I nodded, breathing deeply. Father wrote that silence was strength. But maybe silence is also peace. She squeezed my hand. You found both. We sat again on the porch. I leaned back, staring at the stars, and thought of everything that had happened. Betrayal, silence, downfall, and now this stillness. For the first time, I wasn't haunted. Evelyn broke the silence gently. So what will you do now? I smiled faintly. Live. Protect what's worth protecting. And remember Father's words, not to prove anyone wrong, not to seek vengeance, but to stand, to endure, and to love. Her lips curved into a smile. That sounds like walking into the light. I looked at her, then at the house, then up at the stars again. They thought they buried me in darkness, I whispered. But I was only learning how to grow, and now I walk into the light. The night embraced me not as an enemy, but as a witness. And in that quiet moment, I knew Father would have been proud.